Welcome to Eagles Nest News, your go-to source for all things Philadelphia Eagles.
Presented by Toyota, official automotive partner of the NFL. Barrett Brooks, Jason Avant. Barrett Brooks and Jason Avant. Want to make sure I get it right. A big win for the Eagles on Sunday and a flag-waving win for your Michigan Wolverines on Saturday against Ohio State. And you won a serious game, a capture the flag, my friend. You are now viral across the universe.
You know, the funniest thing about this is that I played, 10 years in the National Football League, great college career, and now I'm known as the flag man from Michigan. So it's pretty funny. But I wasn't allowing a guy with the ugly red jersey to take the flag somewhere that I didn't want it to be. So those are guys were trying to push me down, but they didn't realize there was an athlete under there. So I was able to get it, and our media team is stronger than their players.
Beautiful. That backpack you were wearing had about 100 pounds in it.
It had a lot. It's so funny. I dropped my microphone, and one of the guys from Ohio State picked it up kind of slyly. He got his vest number so we can get our microphone back.
Nice. Nice. Jason, go. You're live. You're live.
You're right.
I got to get the flag back, for goodness sakes. All right, time for we're going to talk more about this later. Time for our three-point stance presented by Toyota. Stance number one. The Eagles have the best defense in the NFL, period, end of story. They're first in yards allowed on the season. Since the bye week, the stats, Jason, are eye-popping, aren't they?
Yeah, they are the best team, like you said, in the NFL. They do a lot of things really well. They rally to the football. They recognize routes. They're physical, great anticipation. They watch film. They can cover man-to-man. They rush the passer really well. And to have 3 sacks against Lamar Jackson, that's like trying to tackle a dude with grease on him.
Right.
And they could have had about 6 or 7 if it wasn't for Lamar Jackson. So this defense is playing extremely well.
Absolutely. They're doing everything, the little things. They know Vic Fangio's defense because, number one, he taught them the defense, and that's one thing about Vic. They say he's a great coach. He really breaks down conceptually what you're supposed to do in that defense, and it's working. It also helps that this defense is so young, and the way they're playing right now is just so fast and explosive. That's the biggest thing. They're fast, they're explosive. They get there, and they get there with a purpose, a nasty disposition. So I love the fact these guys can go there with a purpose and hit people in the mouth.
The Eagles' defensive coordinator, Scranton's own, Vic Fangio, is becoming a Philadelphia sports icon his own self. Today, Fangio referenced another Philly icon. Take a listen.
It's a process. The more you practice, the more you play, you get better, in spite of what Allen Iverson ever said. Okay? So, and some guys, personnel guys around the league, they think, hey, this guy can do it. Just throw him in, and they expect him the finished product. You never have the finished product with a young player until they get enough practice time and playing time.
And in this case, that is the right answer. Barrett, this guy, Vic Fangio, seems to be pushing all the right buttons.
Absolutely. And he's putting these guys in great positions. That's the biggest thing. He's allowing those guys to play their game. He said from the beginning that he wanted Cooper DeJean to be at the slot. So once he was finally healthy enough to get in the slot, and after they came back from their break, he's been playing lights out. So, you look at him. Quinyon Mitchell starting day one because he wanted to give him the reps, make sure he was ready to play. That's what you do. You got to. It's almost like a baptism by fire.
Mm-hmm. And they have succeeded. Stance number two: Saquon Barkley will set the NFL rushing record. That mark is held by Eric Dickerson, who ran for 2,105 yards in 1984 for the Rams, 40 years ago. Barkley's on pace to hit 21-23. So he's on pace to do it, Chase. That's a 40-year-old record. That would be staggering, would it not?
It definitely would be, and I think that he can get there. The reason I think he can get there, listen to this. We play the 32nd ranked rushing defense in the Panthers, the 27th in the Commanders, the 29th in the Giants, the 31st in the Dallas, right? So these are a lot of bad teams that are when it comes to stopping the run. So he definitely has a shot. Here's the caveat. he only gets 16 games to do it, just like Eric Dickerson did. So for me, it doesn't count if he did it in 17. He has to get it in 16.
I'm with you. That Giants game's off the board.
Yes.
Don't tell me you're the record holder. But here's the thing, Barrett. What about preserving the man? Do they need him to do that? Will they need it by season's end?
I'm gonna tell you this. You see what he's doing on the field. You see how those guys are blocking for him. They'll help him out in getting that mark. They will definitely do that. But at the end of the day, he's built to last. He's built like that. This is not the same situation when he was with the Giants where, you know, he got hurt a lot. He has guys out there that are blocking for him. That offensive line he had with the Giants, they weren't blocking for him. These guys are.
And go ahead.
This isn't about preservation. You have to chase down the #1 seed, and this is the Detroit Lions. These games count, and so therefore he's going to have to play into the end of the season. So therefore, it's a good chance that he breaks this organically and not by, you know, them forcing it.
Although Lions have Bears, Bills, Vikings still remaining on their schedule, so we'll see what happens.
If it comes down to like point differential or something like that, it still goes to the Lions because they score a lot of points. So that if we're tied, they still may get the #1 seed.
And Lions have the Packers on Thursday. Very important game for the Eagles as well. Stance number 3. The Eagles will run the table. 5 games remain on the schedule, beginning with the Panthers Sunday. Is there a loss likely buried in there, or do they win all 5 games to finish 15-2, Jace?
All 5 games will be pretty tough, but I think they'll be motivated against the Steelers and Washington. So, yeah, and the other teams are kind of cupcakes. I'm going to say they'll get it done, Barry.
No question.
It's tough to sweep the division. You both know that.
It's definitely
it's
tough.
tough.
You look at it, though, but I mean, it doesn't matter who they're playing at this point. They have their way of thinking. They have their identity. And I just think they're going to go out and they're just going to be more physical than those teams. And they're supposed to beat those teams, so then they are going to beat those teams. It doesn't matter who they have there. They're just going to play their game.
Exciting final 5 games coming up for the Eagles and their competition. The Supercuts playbook looks like this tonight. Good news, bad news on the injury front. Updates on Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith. Plus, the Eagles continue to start games extremely slowly. Will it ever catch up to them? And the lowly Panthers on tap Sunday. Don't take them cats too lightly. This is Birds Huddle, presented by Toyota.
Majority of this season.
Dallas Goedert is expected to be sidelined, potentially for multiple weeks, after suffering a knee injury Sunday against the Ravens. Per the Inquirer's Jeff McLean, the team is hopeful it won't be season-ending, but the Birds might have to place Goedert on short-term injured reserve. That would require he miss at least 4 games. Goedert missed 3 games earlier this season with a hamstring injury. Up to the challenge, presented by First Trust Bank, official bank of the Eagles. Dallas Goedert's missed a lot of time dating back to 2020. He missed 5 games that season, 2 the next, another 5, then 3, and already 3 this season. A total of 13 games over the past 5 seasons and counting. And you can see his production has dipped as well. He's had a steady decline from his career best 830 receiving yards in 2021. Jason Avant, how much will they miss Dallas Goedert if he is out again multiple games?
They won't miss him at all. And I like Dallas. Dallas is a really good player, but Grant Calcaterra has proven that he can handle the passing game and that aspect of the game. So, and then you have Jack Stoll, you have a couple other guys that are in the background.
Zumba.
Yeah. So you have guys that can block. So I don't think that they're going to miss anything with Dallas Goedert out. He has to figure out his injury issues in order to help this team.
Barrett, are you surprised he isn't a bigger part of the offense?
It really depends. You got to be available to do that. You know, availability is the best ability. So he hasn't been available. So they've learned how to go without using him. I mean, I don't know if it's bad or good, but I mean, it's going to help him right now. They're going to need that roster spot if he has to be out more than 2-3 weeks. So at this point, you know, they're bringing in people trying to see if they can come in and help the situation. So at this point, you're right. They have the ability right now to go and not have him in the office and still have a functional offense. In fact, it might be a little more explosive with Grant Calcaterra in the middle of the field going down the field.
All right, how about this? Given Goedert's injury history, should the Eagles have strongly considered addressing the tight end position? He's missed the better part of 3 games per season the past 5 years.
Yeah, I think they've already addressed it when you went to draft Grant Calcaterra, and I think that that's the obvious replacement. You don't have a lot of capital in order to pay a guy like that. You still have a lot of free agents on defense and guys that you want to sign back, and all the offensive money has already been allocated for. So you want to keep the guys that you drafted.
Yep.
I love the conviction with which you both speak about the absence of Dallas Goedert. Makes me feel, I'm sorry he's absent. He's hurt, but, Grant Calcaterra is the guy now.
Yeah, Van Sumeren was out this week, and that's the guy that leads up in the hole. Guess who was doing that this week? Grant Calcaterra, and did a good job of it. So that being said, he's doing a lot more. He's expanding his role. He's becoming more valuable. So now we see that.
All right, the Eagles will likely have Devontae Smith back from a 2-game absence from a hamstring injury. That's good news. How much more will we see the Eagles' passing game flourish if Smith is back, Barrett?
That's just another weapon that you can't double-team A.J. now on the outside. He was still going out there and going to work, but with the addition of Devontae Smith being out there, it's going to be really hard for them to go out there and do that. So I do think that he'll be more of a part of the offense now that, he's back. The passing game might be a little better. They might be more explosive in the first quarter.
Yeah, when you have Dallas Goedert out, now it's just a clear picture. It's A.J. Brown and it's Devontae Smith, and it's a comfort zone for Jalen Hurts, because now when you're talking about Jahan Dotson and Covey and those guys, Jalen has to see those guys open before he throws it. When you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, he can anticipate throws because he knows and trusts that they'll get open even if it doesn't look like they're open. So that's what you have.
That trust. Yeah.
Aside from injuries, slow starts continue to plague the Eagles' offense. Offensive coordinator Kellen Moore spoke on that topic today.
We've navigated this thing in a lot of different ways, and so we've talked about it. We'll talk about it again this week as far as just trying to find the best way for us to execute, because LA felt like we had a good drive going. Ended up short in the red zone this past week. Obviously, one first down, then kind of got stalled out, and so it's a frustrating aspect of our thing. Obviously, something that we've started slow, unfortunately, for too many games, and so it's something we got to do a better job of.
Do they really think it's a big deal? That's the question. The numbers are pretty wild. The Eagles are ranked dead last in the NFL in first quarter scoring, dead last, averaging just 1.4 points per game in the first quarter. That goes up to 7th. Then 3rd, then 2nd in the 4th quarter. In the final 3 quarters, they are first with 25.3 points per game. Jason, how do you explain it? And if I said, hey, they're winning, so no big deal, that's just this team this season, what do you say?
No, you're always trying to conquer it and get better. I thank God we have the best defense in the league, because that's the only way you can do this and be successful. So we have to figure out some things in this portion of the game, and it starts with Kellen Moore and the play calling. There's too many times that Jalen Hurts is stranded with the ball with not good options to throw it to at times, right? So when the defense has a better coverage than we have a play, that's a problem, and that's on the offensive coordinator. It's only so many times that we can make an excuse for you. You should be the most prepared in that first 15, and he's constantly coming up short, so he has to do a better job in that portion of the game.
Double B, what do you think?
I think it is an issue. You're going to get it, going into this from high-powered offenses, going into the, playoffs. You're talking about the best cream of the crop offenses, so you're going to have to go match them quarterback for quarterback, play for play, and they need to start going out there and getting this fixed now as opposed to waiting to the playoffs where it might be over with. So they need to address this, and, address it more than they've been addressing it right now.
How much do you put it on Hurts and the wide receivers for not coming up with the play that's called? You're saying it's on Moore.
No, it's our guys, especially with A.J. Brown, I think he needs to touch the ball more. He didn't touch the ball this past game until the second quarter. And in the second quarter, they went right down the field. Let's get that happening earlier in the game. He's a guy that you can call individual routes for. That means you can line him up outside, run a slant, run a comeback, run a go, run a post, run anything, and guys are going to be scared of him, and they bounce off of him because he's so big. So just get that guy the ball when it's time to pass and run it, and we're good.
Get him the ball. Jason Avant, thank you as always for stopping by. He's the king of capture. Where's the flag? He's the king. Sunday, Birds 12-point favorites against the Carolina team that's won just 3 games this season. Barrett, human nature says they take them too lightly. How do they avoid doing that?
Well, they started after this Sunday's game. They went to work. Usually, say, hey, you give your Monday off. No, coach said we'll be back to work on Monday. That just means that they're ready to go out there and really show, we're not taking anybody lightly. This is a team we should beat. we're favored by double digits. They're going to take that same stuff and put it on their billboard. You see how people disrespect them. So they're going to come out and want to play and beat a team like the Eagles. The Eagles got to go out there with that mentality, that foxhole mentality. We got to beat whoever's in front. It doesn't matter who it is. We got to punish them.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about the Carolina situation. How worried should the Eagles be about Carolina, who seem to be playing much better with Bryce Young at quarterback? You recall Andy Dalton was in there. Now Young back in there again, the number 1 overall pick in 2023.
It couldn't get any worse than it was. I mean, they were the laughingstock, for all of this season, besides these last 3 games. Well, 4 or 5 games. I think Andy Dalton came in and gave him a little bit of an uprising, hey, we got to play better than we're playing. Well, since he's out now and the young buckets come in, he understands what the NFL stands for. Not National Football League, but not for long. So he he had to come in and produce. He had this team following him right now. They believe in him right now, so they'll go out there making plays for him. But at the end of the day, this is still a Panthers team that should be beat by the Eagles. And I don't care about the double digits, about the betting stuff. I mean, I wouldn't even touch this line. I wouldn't touch it at all. But when you look at it, they've got to make sure that they beat this team, period. Period. I don't care if it's about 1 point. They've got to beat this team.
Back to Jalen Hurts for a moment and the scoring offense in the second half. Jalen Hurts has thrown 4 completions against the Rams. He's thrown 2 completions this past Sunday against Baltimore. Is that going to weigh heavy on Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and company when they're looking to get some numbers?
No. It'll be just fine to keep running the rock, do what they need to do to win. Winning comes first and foremost.
Which is the worst team in the NFL this season?
I would say the Panthers, but the Panthers are playing okay right now. I'm going to say just from the way the organization's run, where they're firing coach and everything, I'm going to go with the Jets.
Yep.
The worst run organization right now, second to none. The Jets are bad. With everything they're doing, they're bad.
Jets stink. Number 2. Last night, Jameis Winston threw for nearly 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Phenomenal. But he threw 3 picks as well, including 2 pick sixes. Will he be a starting quarterback next season?
Yes, because it's better than what they have right now. So, yeah, he will be the starting quarterback. I mean, the Browns have got to realize they got to cut that money and just say, hey, we're done right now. We're just going to have to go ahead and go with Jameis Winston.
All right. That is a...
Hey everyone, welcome back to Eagles Nest News, your go-to source for everything Philadelphia Eagles. I'm your name, and today we've got some exciting updates, insights, and predictions ahead. Big thanks to Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL, for making this episode possible. Now let's dive in. The Eagles are dominating this season, and there's no denying it. We've got the best defense in the NFL. We're number 1 in yards allowed and have been lights out since the bye week. Jason Avant and Barrett Brooks broke it down perfectly. This defense is fast, explosive, and they hit hard. We're talking about a unit that shut down Lamar Jackson, bringing him down 3 times despite his elusive style. Lamar Jackson can slip through defenders like grease, but the Eagles made sure he didn't have a free ride. Credit goes to defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, who's really getting the best out of this young squad. His experience and knowledge of the game are paying off, especially with guys like Cooper DeJean and Quan Mitchell stepping up. With players who are learning fast and playing with intensity, the defense is only going to get scarier from here. This is a team that's built to make a deep playoff run. Shifting gears, there's a lot of talk about Saquon Barkley and his pursuit of Eric Dickerson's NFL rushing record. Can he do it? Jason and Barrett believe it's possible, especially with the tough defenses the Giants will face this season. But here's the catch. The Eagles are in pursuit of the top spot in the NFC, and the Lions are right there with them. If it comes down to it, we might see the Eagles and Lions battling it out for the number 1 seed. But regardless of what Barkley does, the Eagles need to focus on their game, making sure they don't let up, especially with a tough stretch of games ahead. Now, let's talk about the Eagles' remaining schedule. With 5 games left, including a matchup against the Panthers this Sunday, can the Eagles run the table and finish the season 15-2? It's possible, but like Barrett and Jason said, no game is easy. These next 5 games will be crucial, but if the Eagles stay focused and continue to play their brand of physical football, they'll be hard to stop. The team has already established its identity, and it doesn't matter who they play. They know how to get the job done. There have been some injuries recently, especially with Dallas Goedert's knee injury. But as Barrett and Jason pointed out, the Eagles have depth. Guys like Grant Calcaterra are stepping up, and while we'll miss Goedert's contributions, this team has shown it can keep moving forward. The same goes for Devonta Smith, who's expected to return from his hamstring injury soon. With both Smith and A.J. Brown back on the field together, the Eagles' passing game will be even more explosive. The Eagles' offense has had some slow starts this season, but thanks to the defense and the leadership of Jalen Hurts, they're able to come from behind and still dominate. It's all about execution, and the Eagles are more than capable of figuring out their early game struggles. The bottom line is this: the Eagles are firing on all cylinders. They've got the best defense in the league, a potent offense led by Hurts, and a coaching staff that knows how to make adjustments. Sure, the road ahead has its challenges, but this team is built for greatness. Whether it's injuries or slow starts, the Eagles have proven time and time again that they can overcome adversity. So, what do you think? Will the Eagles finish the season with a perfect record and head into the playoffs as the top seed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button if you're hyped for the Eagles' future, and be sure to subscribe to Eagles Nest News so you never miss an update. Thanks again to Toyota, and I'll catch you next time. Fly, Eagles, fly.